Welcome back to another live stream from Manny Cabrera. It's live from the Capsule is the name of the channel. Uh, haven't been on live in a few, maybe a few days, 7 or 8 days, something like that. And I actually haven't been posting the thumbnails either. There've been a little bit of things going on in my personal life that have kind of messed up my schedule in a way where I haven't been able to sit down and take 30 minutes to um, well, and take 30 minutes to kind of just brainstorm my thoughts. And, I have been doing a lot of thinking. I have been getting really excited about a lot of things that I've been learning lately. Hence why I wanted to get on here today. I was on my way back from the gym this morning. Today's one of my days off. It's Wednesday. And I was on my way back from the gym and I got a couple of things to do. And I said, let me knock this out first because I want to kind of get these thoughts out while they're still super fresh in my mind. And just get on here and just bring you guys down the perception and or lane that I seem to be paying attention to a lot in these last previous days and previous months as well. It's crazy to think that the more I keep hearing a lot of these speeches and or talks to the nation or talks to the people from all these high level CEOs and Davos, which was like the world summit for I guess all the news. I'm not 100% sure exactly what Davos is, but I know that there was a lot of important people there just kind of going through what they've accomplished throughout the year, what we should probably be looking into, how to stay safe, health, finance, military, cooperation between countries. It was just like, a slew of information. And I just watched a few excerpts that really got me interested and just like, with people drop those nuggets and it just makes you, or at least me, when people drop nuggets about things that I'm highly interested in, it makes me want to go down that rabbit hole. So hence this video. And I also had some pretty cool experiences happening in my career and in my day to day where I'm interacting with actual people. I'm being really excited by all the AI and all the advancements in that and learning it and how to use my self-determination, discipline, and agency to create opportunities for myself. I'm starting to see, even though I'm not like a tech bro, I have never worked in tech. The closest I've ever gotten to working in tech or anything like that, motherboards of that nature. I remember when I was young, maybe 16 years old, I think I was still in high school, 14, 15, 16. I used to work at a warehouse pulling microchips off of boards. So I guess like the boards would fry and then there would be like this one chip. I remember the guy looked like, excuse me if I'm talking about the wrong person, but Danny DeVito, is it, or who's the guy from, it's not Danny DeVito, the guy that played, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was the short guy in the movie. He also like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That small guy. He played the Penguin. I'm not sure what his name is. I don't know why Danny DeVito comes to. I need to find out who that is. Played Penguin, right? Let me look that up. And I'll get it back to you guys before the end of the stream, man, just because I should know that. This guy's been plenty of movies and anything like that. Well, anyways, long story short, I remember because that was my boss and it used to be super cold and we used to move pallets and stuff. And that's exactly what we used to do. And that's as close as I've ever been to tech is like pulling those microchips. I remember in those times, the only thing that kind of stuck with me is that like he used to throw away a crazy amount. Hey, how are you? I'm from United States. I live in the United States. I was born and raised in the United States, but I'm of Dominican descent, so I'm American. But anyways, we used to throw away so much stuff. This guy had 3 shops in this warehouse, and he used to get a whole bunch of motherboards and computers and break down all this stuff. And all he wanted was that little chip out of every one of those boards. So what stayed with me there is like, man, there's all this waste. He could throw all this stuff out and get this one chip out of there. And it was like, he made money because he had to pay for the unit. He had to pay for his living expenses, and that's all. And he paid us. So there was definitely money to be made back then, right? My brother's been in tech forever, for as long as I can remember. I remember also one of my older brothers that's a barber right now, has owned businesses, owned barbershops for as long as I can remember. He was also like into photocopy fixing, like he used to fix photocopy machines. And yeah. Thank you so much. I can't read your name, and or I don't see you have a profile picture, but I appreciate you guys for showing me love in the chat. Anyways, so with that being said, uh, that's as much tech as I've ever been exposed to, and or engulfed myself in for long periods of time. So, but now I'm starting to be one of these people that ever since I almost transitioned to the iPad for making my designs for tattooing and stuff like that, it has slowly pushed me into that direction where like the efficiency of how I can bring pictures from my phone to my iPad, how I can answer things on my watch, how my watch can monitor even my sleep and how many steps I'm taking. I know that there's a lot of downside to it, but how it makes my life very streamlined, especially in today's day and time where there's so many things to think about. I've always kind of gravitated towards that. Like I said, I've said this many a times. The channel initially was started with the intent to give you guys my experience with the Tesla Model 3. I still have that car. I've had that car for about 5 years. So I'm always, as much as I kind of buck new things, it almost seems like I'm bucking the things that I don't want to learn, but the things that I want to learn, I'm really an early adopter, right? So the Teslas were still like, I knew one guy that had them. I knew one guy back then that had them, and people were like, "You don't even have a charger. You don't even have like, yeah, I'll figure that all out," and it's worked out great. There's chargers all over my city, but yeah. So going back to, there's always two sides to the story. There's always ups and downs to a lot of life's decisions. Life choices. There's the balance, there's the pros and cons, there's the yin yang to everything, right? So I'm going to say that I'm feeling really optimistic, and not in a way of like I can see what the future is going to be like, but of how all these tools are going to allow me to bring a lot of the ideas that I had and have had for a very long time into fruition without having to basically have the resources, whether that be monetary, time, and or know where to look. A lot of people, and these are baseline excuses that the majority of people have, and I also have a bag of them. That things are kind of too hard to do the research, and I have a full life. I have to wake up and take care of kids and work and work out, and also maintain everything that I already have. I'm almost seeing all that as like an excuse of the past for anybody that has agency, because anything that you can possibly imagine, with all the systems that are out now as well, because maybe you might, I get some rebuttal sometimes. It's like, yeah, well, it's not so easy. Well, you have to try things. You're not gonna be good at talking to it and it or making things happen for you off the roof. I appreciate Israel's in the chat. Israel's in the chat. Um, there's there's some level of expectancy that you have to know that anything that you're going to start new, you're going to kind of not be that great at, you know what I mean, initially. And AI is no different. Just because there's a lot of people that say like, man, this is the future, this thing's going to do so many things, people think they should be able to open it and rub it like a magic genie, coming out of a bottle, and it's going to do everything for you. No, you have to find out the pros and cons, how to speak to it. Maybe some models are better than others for just image generation and or math and or coding and or building. Right now I'm trying to build the not my thumbnails. I got a pretty good system of how I do thumbnails, even though I'm pretty sure with AI there's something I can do if I show it. Maybe my last 5 that I've made in my aesthetic. I did not know speed. It can start to replicate those for me, but it's the when you come to the YouTube, it's the top post. So I want to say that's the banner. Yeah, the thumbnail is for the videos, and the banner is the top, right? So, anyways, I ramble a lot, right? And I guess this is good for live feed or for live stream, or I hope that it is, because this is what it's here for, right? For me to just like kind of speak off the cusp. And yeah, anyways, for as excited as I am for that, I want to go down, and then I'll circle back to this because there's something else that's really, really important that makes me even be more angst and want to jump at this even more so, because I have to start making a move. If guys like this are making information like what I'm going to speak about public, man, if you don't take heed, you're really gambling. You know what I mean? And some people don't know, so I guess ignorance is bliss, right? I had this couple come in, and I'm not, no, I'm not familiar with over the pond. What we call that in the West is over the pond. So anywhere, any continent on that side of the world, I haven't visited. I've only been to yeah, I've only been to the Caribbean, Central America. I've been to Canada. Yeah, so I'm not familiar. Maybe one day that'd be awesome. I would love to travel, because I think that that would give me even more information and more things to learn from. I'm at that stage in my life where I'm very open to new experiences, new foods, new ways of living a day, and see kind of what fits best for me, and I can pass that along to anyone that's near me and or that would like to learn. So, anyways, the topic I'm going to speak about later is about the CEO of Anthropic. His name is like Dario Amade or something like that. But he dropped like a really big, like a 20,000 word essay that was crazy. But anyways, in tattooing, just last week, this connection, like this excitement and all of that I'm getting for all this technology and everything that it's going to be able to do, and how cool it's going to be, and all of that, I had this connection with this couple that came in and specifically asked for me. It was one of those times where like they looked at all the portfolios of all the artists across all of the oddities, and there's 4 locations with 20 artists, right? And they said, this guy, I want to work with this guy. So they came in, they had a consultation. Their consultation was them wanting to get hearts, like anatomical hearts, but the anatomical hearts were drawn by their daughter, which is now, I want to say, like an early teen, like maybe 16, 17, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to call her Jixie, or Gypsy, for lack of, or for kind of keeping her anonymous, right? And I honestly don't have the name, because I remember when they left, I asked the name of the young lady, which her daughter was. But even though I probably shouldn't put out here, just like everybody else, just like, copywriting and things of that nature, you want to keep people almost vague. But it was a great story. And if they watch this video, I'm telling you guys, impacted me a lot and made me think of the other side of the coin, right? Because they wanted anatomical hearts, but the anatomical hearts were drawn by their daughter, which has had heart complications her whole life. Like she's had to have a couple of surgeries, and just a few different things that kind of went wrong, or like was genetically different. So they had to go in and make some modifications. And the stories that we were talking about is like how she draws hearts all the time, like in the sand, when on napkins, on, because it's such a big part of her life. And they wanted to get the hearts tattooed on them exactly how the daughter drew it. So obviously there was some modification, because just for tattooing purposes, right? For like the hold up in the skin, there's certain guidelines that you have to stick by for the tattoo to have, last the test of time. But man, did that impact me so much, where it was like, man, these people want to get tattoos of drawings that their daughter did, that has this, lifelong battle that she's been dealing with, and is still alive and still fighting every day, because it's, no matter what, there's always kind of got to be that subconscious, I guess, worry, whether you're doing good or not. Like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to run? Am I going to? I would imagine, that's what I would say. And for them, for to have someone in the family that's really close like that, like your kid, to be having issues, and for it to be so embedded that every time she kind of draws, it always kind of goes back to that, and she draws it in so many different ways, but she knows how everything is, but she puts her own spin on it, right? and that these people were gonna get this tattooed on them. And these were really nice people. They were professional people. I guess they own a farm out in Mayaca, which is in Sarasota County. Um, you know, so people that have a lot of going on, that are, what you would have, when I look at them, is like people that have accomplished things in life and that are happy and that have family and that have freedom and time and health, and then they come to you for this life-changing experience, and they single you out, and then that story, that whole engagement and or interaction made such an impact on me, where it's like, yeah, these are the connections and the things that cannot be replaced by a computer, by a, artificial intelligence or supreme artificial intelligence. That, yes, it's cool because it can do a lot of chores and or work and or produce answers for problems, and maybe solve, like I was talking about earlier with the Davos thing. They were talking about how they're already starting to work with pharmaceutical companies and things of that nature, and they're going to be able to cure things like cancer. You know how many people die from cancer? You know how many people die from cancer? It's crazy. Now more than it's crazy. I have that happening right now in my life. And I haven't like spoke about it and or touched about it because it's really, really close to home. And I'm not ready to kind of talk about that on camera. But man, like, to all those great things that is going to make, I guess, our evolution and or intelligence and or development expand at such a rapid rate, is crazy exciting, almost like jumping on a roller coaster or being in a fast car. Like, you kind of get that, but then you think the same, that, like, when you're in that fast car, and you're drifting around that corner, it's super fun and you're having all those feelings. Like, it gets dangerous. It gets dangerous because you're missing all the signs in the road. You're missing looking around that corner to see if, this road has a separation all the way through, or does it turn into a single road? And I'm just giving you analogies that are coming to me, right now. But man, if everything becomes so streamlined and or automated, and or, you're using artificial intelligence for the majority of your day, I always joke about that in the future, I believe that rubbing shoulders and or interacting with humans on a day-to-day basis is going to be the flex. You're going to be able to tell people, like, yeah, I was in a room with like six other people and we actually spoke to each other. No one had their faces in the phone. Nobody was like, I asked somebody something and they didn't say, hey, give me a minute, and type it into their phone and or their watch and or a chip in their head. That's going to be the flex. That's going to be like the old school thing. Like, there was a time, and maybe because I'm far removed from the scene, but there was a time that when you had like an old school car that was done up really well and it was still pristine and in good shape, like, that was a real flex, like, wow, that car is that old and it's still in that condition and it looks great. And man, I wouldn't mind having one of those. I think there's going to be some allure to still having that human connection. And those that can perform that and can provide that are going to be sought after. And when I say that, it's just being genuine with people and allowing them to speak, because, some people don't have the luxury like I do. Like, and pardon me if I keep saying like, but I'm getting caught in my thoughts. There's a lot of people that already work in cubicles and work with computers all day. And even more so, it's going to happen even more so. You're going to be dealing with that when you go to the gas station, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to purchase an item. When if I go to buy a new Tesla right now, I'm not going to deal with anyone. I'm going to go online. I'm going to tell them, hey, I want to get this and I want to give you this car. And they're going to give me a price point, and I'm going to pay that with my credit card and my Apple Pay through my phone. And I never talk to anybody. I think the car will freaking drive and park itself here, if I'm not mistaken. It's so people, but I have the luxury of dealing with people multiple times a day. when I'm providing the service of tattooing. I also have a family and kids that I interact with and a wife that I interact with. And my kids and my wife go out and interact with people. My wife does imaging at the hospital. So she's dealing with people. I'm sure they're not. I will speak with you in Arabic in China. Yeah, go ahead. That'd be cool. Maybe I can learn something. Um, so we all have stories to tell and stuff like that. But can you imagine and I don't know if it would be good or bad because I've never been there. So it would be very naive, judgmental, and ignorant of me to talk about somebody else's position and be like, man, can you imagine that would be shitty? Maybe it's great. Maybe it'd be great not to deal with people at all. You know what I mean? But I'd imagine there's plenty of like programmers and coders and people that build actual computers, like the actual hardware, that don't speak to people at all, and they probably single and they live by themselves, and they maybe talk to somebody at the drive-through and say hello and goodbye and have a great day, and that goes on for days and days and days and days and days, and then like when that person's in a room full of 15 people, how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel different? Does it feel like that's something you were yearning for, you were missing? Because sometimes, because I'm exposed to people so often, and that used to happen to me a lot in barbering. When I used to barber before I used to tattoo, that in barbering, sometimes on a busy day, I'd have 15 people, 17 people. There's 15 or 17 conversations with different people that I have to talk to, and whether I'm feeling like it or not. That's part of it. You know what I mean? And that when I would come home, there's no talking. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk. I've been talked out, right? And it sounds crazy, but it's true. Too much of a good thing, I think. But anyways, so that experience, going back to that experience with the tattoo, they got the tattoos. I want to show you guys. I pulled them up on my iPad. Um, I dropped them on my iPad. I have to clear my cloud or there's something that I have to do where my iPad isn't updating and it's not capturing the pictures, so the cloud must be full, and or there's a couple of things going on. I have to get down to the bottom of it. I either have to get with a tech here, or I have to go to the store or something like that. But I wanted to show you guys the tattoos that they got. I'm going to show you the original. I'm going to show you the original drawings that they brought in, and then I'm gonna show you the tattoos that I did on them. And that I just thought that it was so cool, and it was such like a connection that I made with these people, and how it made me think, and just something that I could not get unless these people were, kind enough, had the idea to come and get a tattoo and give me the chance to be able to do it for them and hear the story, and all of that. The coolest thing about all of that, not the coolest, but one of the cool things about my experience with doing these tattoos is all in all, I got paid too to have this experience. So like, I'm getting all of this stuff from AI, and it's answering these questions, and what should I do, and maybe what supplement should I take if I want to sleep better, and this person said this after this interaction, and like helping me along with my thoughts. None of it is giving me the feeling that other people are giving me by sharing their information, their energy, their stories, their skin, the trust. Yeah, it's something else, dude, something else. But as much as they're a lot of the AI guys are preaching singularity, I am saying that that's something that we're going to be missing as a species. That's something that people are going to be like, man, I wish things were like this. Because, and maybe not, man. What am I talking about? A lot of these kids love being on their phone. They have no desire to have anybody else around. So maybe I'm just the old man in the room, right? But that was what I gathered from that experience. That no matter how cool and how techie and how much I accomplish and get success off the things that I'm trying to achieve with AI, I'm never going to be able to replace the human connection. And maybe some people are starting to realize that. Going back, now I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys that. So this is these on the this is my right, so maybe you guys is left. This one was the one that her daughter drew, and then we tattooed this on her, which is the exact same drawing, only in black and gray, and it's shaded, right? But I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and same goes for this one, right? It was on a napkin. I'm gonna stop messing with it with my hands. Maybe you guys can, I'll bring it closer to the camera. And then I ended up doing this one on his hand, just like a sketchy version of that. Then I did, this one. And man, did that, guys, leave it up there for a couple more minutes, let you guys get a better look. Man, but did that really fill my heart that day? No pun intended that I tattooed hearts, but it did something for me that day that I even told him. I was like, hey, I'm going to speak about this. I have like a little YouTube channel and stuff that I want to put right here. Tell me what you guys think. I want to put like some shelving right there. Because remember, I used to have like a cat tree there. Cat tree's gone. So I want to put some shelving there. But anyways, I'm going off the tangent. But what the experience that gave me will never be, I don't think I will be able to get it from a machine and or AI. And who knows, maybe in the future that'll change. But I wanted to share that with you guys and maybe convey how I'm feeling, and that I'm really excited to work with all the new tools that are coming along, and try to make my life easier and give myself more time to do the things that I kind of want to do as a human, and just have more time in the present. And from what I'm seeing, I think that the tools are accessible to me. It's just about finding out which ones work well together, and just putting my nose to the ground and doing it every day. I'm not going to make any progress by sitting, watching videos, and taking notes. This is one of those times in my life where like agency is key here. You have to put it into play, learn, fail, do it every day, put in the hours so you can get that edge on you. Anyways, that being said, the guy that I was talking about, Dario Amade, right? He wrote a 20,000 page essay, right? Warning about like, hey, this is getting too good too quick. We have to really, who am I speaking to? I'm speaking to my audience. I'm speaking to anybody that's willing to listen. I'm speaking off of my experience and just trying to convey the things that I'm learning, and hopefully I get more people in the chat and or community that are like-minded like myself, and we can all learn from each other, because that's what the AIs are doing. They're all learning from each other. So anyways, he was talking about like the big change and the differences that's going to come with this stuff, and that you should be scared. And it happens to be that the drawing that I did last night about scary shadows, right? It's crazy because he was talking about that, about how we have to pay attention to the shadow, the things that are happening in the shadows, things that are happening in the background, because we're all super excited for how fast this is moving and how fast we're going to be able to get AGI and in supreme artificial intelligence. But we aren't nipping things in the bud when it comes to the dangers that it may bring, the displacement that it may have with jobs, the the bioengineering and or biohacking and or wars that can happen because of it if it falls into the wrong hands, right? And that what he was saying, and like we can keeps going on, is like He feels like we're like teenagers, right? Like, when you're a teenager and you start to get strong, you start to get ripped, you start to notice that it's like, I'm not a kid anymore, right? You have all these new powers, you have this autonomy. But most of the time, that's when you start making those mistakes, right? Because you're not mature enough to deal with all of these gifts that are being given to you. And he was basically saying that like he feels we're in that time where like the technology and the things that we've discovered is expanding and becoming so powerful and so great, but he doesn't feel like humanity as a whole is mature enough to deal with something like this. And for someone that's running a big artificial intelligence company like Anthropic, that is you know, guys that have been in the industry for many, many years, and is supposedly, at least the way it's positioned for us, is like people that are really, really concerned with safety, really, really concerned with keeping this safe for humanity. When that's the guy that's coming out and saying, "Hey guys, we really need," putting out a 20,000 word essay, which is, this isn't a, a little scribble in the paper. This isn't an X post. Do you know what I mean? This is something that's thought out. And even though he has, I'm sure he uses AI and things like that to help him. Still, that's a lot of effort to put out and to actually throw shade at the stuff that you're doing. When someone tells you, and I always tell that. Um, I always tell people that it's like, I want. You think I don't want to do the tattoo and get money? Of course, I want to do the tattoo and get money. But there's tattoos and or things that we probably shouldn't do because, yeah, once you pay me, the outcome isn't gonna be good. So that's kind of, I think, the position that he's coming from, where it's like, yeah, we're doing all these things and we're getting all these tools and we're growing exponentially and we have all these capabilities, but guys, this may not end well. And that's just something, and I'm not saying worry about it, because worrying, you're right, Wayne John. He's in the chat. Fear is also something that maybe you shouldn't wallow in the fear, but you should use it as a propellant, as something that's going to motivate you and push you in the right direction. That's what information is for. That's what knowledge is for. The wise old man that's sitting on the porch or wherever in your life, that's giving you information from things that he's been through and wisdom and experiences and things like that, their intention is for you to use that to put in action things that are going to help you. They're not telling you that so you can do nothing with the information. And I'm especially guilty of that, of just consuming a lot of information. And but one thing I do pride myself is that I don't like really doom scroll that much, dude. I don't sit on Instagram, and I don't. And maybe subconsciously, there's something or things that I've read, or maybe like the things that I do don't allow me to do that. But it's not saying like I'm not on my phone, but when I'm on my phone, I'm like watching a YouTube video, watching the markets, listening to a tutorial. I might go on Instagram to post and or like a couple of pictures and on my discover page. But dude, I'm never on there for like, I can't remember the last time that I was on there and I can say like, damn, and I looked up and said like, damn, dude, you were on there for 40 minutes. You didn't do shit. Nah, dude. I've nipped that. I've nipped that. And I'm still consuming a whole bunch of information. I'm still not putting a lot of that stuff into practice. So I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I'm by no means trying to like throw shade, throw arrows, be a hater. But I can see that a behavior that I've curbed by filling it with other things. And that's from what I understand. And you see people that are like, trying to break a habit, recovering addicts, stuff like, they have to fill that time with something else. You can't just like sit on your laurels and just like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna eat chips anymore. But you're just gonna sit down and like just allow space to creep in, so you have time to even think about the chips. You just got to keep yourself busy. But I don't know why I said that about the chips, man. Okay, I eat tons of chips. My son loves Lay's chips, and whatever he leaves, I eat that shit. So, anyways, moral of the story, title of the video: what was the reason that I dropped this live today? It was to let everybody out there that's listening and or you know tuning into my channel and wants to listen that I am super excited and intrigued and aware that things are changing really quickly, and I'm in a position where I'm able to use these tools to help me. So that's making me even more extremely happy. When you start to understand things, you're not as new anymore. You're not as green anymore. You're not the rookie anymore. Feels good as well because I'm starting to mature into the area where I'm being able to be less surprised by the things that I'm finding out and more capable of using them in my benefit. So I'm excited about that. But with that being said, I'm also saying that I'm super happy that I have found that human interaction has come to truth in my life. That human interaction, stories, and time spent with people that are on your same wavelength and or frequency and or things or people that you can learn from and share experiences and love with is something that's never going to be replaced, and something that you should still yearn to do in your day to day because it's going to fill your life. And if there's anything that I can do, it's pass on a good message, and it's learn as much as you can. Use the hours in the day as appropriately and as beneficial as you can for your life and what makes you happy. Try to pass on as much as you can so the universe treats you well and does the same for you. And take time to appreciate the now, the present, the earth, the human in you, just the natural elements that come across your vision every day that you don't even think about. Start to live more in the present, and that's the message for today's video. If you like what you heard, if you like art and you want to hear the inside and perspective and thoughts of an artist as he puts together his product and provides it to the world, feel free to chime in. I really appreciate everybody that's been here, that's been in the chat, that has gone down my content feed, that has seen my shorts. Please like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Manny Cabrera. This is From the Capsule. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. See you on the next go round.